This is a teacher Haris Bhatt and you are seeing my YouTube channel, Learn Accounting with Sir Haris. Today we are going to solve the paper of O levels accounting, or you can say IGCSE 0452 variant 1-2. There is only one variant which comes in February March for O levels or IGCSE only in February March 2025. This is the paper for 2025, recently been uploaded, variant 1-2 for MCQs multiple choice questions. So let's solve this paper. It carries 1 hour 15 minutes is the time, and we are supposed to solve it within the stipulated time. So let's solve that. The first MCQs, we are going to go. A business employs a bookkeeper and an accountant. A business employs a bookkeeper and an accountant. Which task does the accountant perform? Extracting balances from the ledger accounts to produce a trial balance. That is, yes, that is the task of the bookkeeper. Making a journal entry to record the credit sales of a non-current asset. Again, the bookkeeper. Preparing a monthly report that analyzes the profitability of the company. Recording sales and purchase invoice in the books of prime entry. So which task does the accountant perform? That is, the answer is C. So C is the answer. Preparing a monthly report that analyzes the profitability of the company. Why? Because all the things which has been done before the till trial balance, that is basically the performance or work of the bookkeeper. And after the trial balance, the accountant work starts. Preparation of financial statement and interpreting the results. So 1C is the answer. A transaction has had the following effects: asset decrease, liability decrease, capital increase. The business is not overdrawn at the bank. Which transaction has happened? So it means that we have bank balance at the bank. It is not overdrawn. Which transaction has eventually resulted in decrease in asset, decrease in liability, and increase in capital? A payment was made to credit supplier after taking a cash discount. So let me pass the entry for you to understand the concept. Always remember that if you want to solve the MCQs correctly, you have to write down things. You can't solve things on the calculator only. This is a complete wrong practice. So what is the entry? Trade payable, debit. After taking a discount, bank credit, and discount received will also be credit. So trade payable debit means liability will decrease. Okay. Bank is going to be credit. It means asset of bank is decreasing. Asset decrease. Okay. Discount received is an income. So income will eventually increase capital. So that is the entry. So for second transaction, A is the answer. If I have passed the entry, the answer has become so easy for me to understand. But because you are not doing it, you are just going for the statement and just reading the statements again and again, you are not able to get the correct answer. Time bhi zaya, वक्त bhi zaya, answer bhi galat. A payment was received from a credit customer after allowing a cash discount, that is bank debit, discount allowed debit and trade receivable credit. So this will decrease capital actually. So it will not be the answer. Goods were sold to a credit customer for less than their cost price. So trade receivable debit and sales credit. So that will not be the answer also, because trade receivable are increasing, asset increase. Goods were sold to a credit for more than the cost price. Again, trade receivable is going to increase because of the increase in the. So kya ho gaya? Okay, let's move forward. A is the answer. The double entry system of bookkeeping consists of processing accounting data in a certain order. What is the correct order? Business documents, books of prime entry, ledger, trial balance. Business documents, ledger, trial balance, book of prime entry, business documents, trial balance, and ledgers. Then book of prime entry, ledgers, trial balance, and business document. So the answer is going to be B. First, you need to go for business document, sales invoice, purchase invoice, credit note, debit note. Then you used to prepare ledgers. Then you're going to prepare the trial balance from ledgers. Oh, sorry. I just got it wrong actually. First is the answer. Sorry. A is the answer. Business documents. Then you will prepare through business documents. You will prepare the books of prime entry, sale journal, purchase journals, because sales invoice is recorded in the sales journal. And then you will prepare the ledger in sales ledger or general ledger. And then you will go for the extraction of the trial balance. So A is the answer for this particular question. Let's move forward. Imran made an entry on the debit side of the cash book in the bank column. What could the corresponding credit entry represent? So bank is going to be debit. A decrease in cash, a decrease in trade payable, an increase in non-current asset, an increase in trade receivable. Corresponding credit entry represent means what should be the entry on the credit side. That is what it is asking. So Imran made an entry on the debit side of the cash book in the bank column. So bank is debit and cash is credit, right? Cash is credit is fine. That is the cash paid into bank. But a decrease in trade payable will always have a debit. A decrease in trade payable will debit. But we have a debit on the bank. Debit is bank. Increase in non-current asset is going to be debit. Wrong, because bank is debit. Increase in trade receivable is going to be debit. Wrong, because bank is debit. So A is the answer, decrease in cash. And the entry, if you want to write it down, though, it is not needed because bank is debit. So the credit entry in the corresponding is going to be cash is going to be credit. So A is the answer for this. 4. Dave supplies goods to Peter on credit on 1st April. Peter owed Dave 440. During the month of April, Dave processed the following documents. Invoice issued. Invoice issued ka matlab means that you have basically sold goods on credit 360. Check received after deducting 11 cash discount. So the amount over here from Peter was 440 actually. And we have received 11 discount. We have given 11 discount and we have received 429. Debit note receive and credit note issue. Always remember, then when you are basically a seller or you are selling goods, then the return you will go for a credit note issue, right? So 50, you will take only one amount from this 50 because we are receiving debit note and we are issuing credit note. So the note which is issued by Dave is the credit note issued. If you want to pass the entry, I can do that for you. Sales return is going to be debit and Peter is going to be credit. So Peter is credit in the return. So it's going to be credit note issue 50. What is the closing balance on the statement of account issued by Dave to Peter on 30th April? So that is going to be 440 plus 360. That is going to be 440 plus 360. How much? 800 minus 490. 800 minus 490. 3 times is the answer. So B is the answer. You can prepare the T account also, no problem. You can prepare the T account also if you want it, right? So it's up to you that if you want to go for a T account, you can do that. Okay. So 3 times B is the answer for this particular point. Let's go forward. Alicia entered the credit note she received in March in the correct return journal. Receive, credit note receive. It means we are issuing debit note. We are issuing debit note means that we are going for an entry for purchase return. How was the total of this journal recorded in the ledger at the end of March? Credit purchase return account. Sir, how come you will be able to know that? I will make you explain this. क्या मसला आ रहा है इसका? 800 what 800. Okay. So let's pass the entry. Alicia entered the credit note she received. Okay, it means she's issuing debit note. Debit note means that she is going for the entry trade payable debit and purchase return credit. So what we'll do, either it will be recorded on the, okay, there was a problem in the internet. So credit purchase return account, right? Because trade payable is going to be debited and we are going to credit purchase return account. So answer for 6 is A. Credit purchase return account is going to be the answer. 7. Which statement about trade discount are correct? It is debited to the supplier account. No, trade discount is not recorded, beta. It is only given if the invoice is paid within the period allowed by the supplier. It is shown as a deduction from the price of the goods on an invoice. It is used to encourage bulk buying. So 3 and 4 is the answer. D is the answer. It is shown as a deduction from the price of the goods on an invoice. Yani invoice में से हम list price में से इसको we used to subtract the trade discount from the list price. Secondly, it is given because of bulk buying or to loyal customers. So 3 and 4, D is the answer. Why the trial balance prepared? To analyze the financial information, to assist in the preparation of financial statement, to control the cost of the business, to evaluate the performance of the business. So B is the answer, to assist in the preparation of financial statement. Trial balance is prepared to check the arithmetic accuracy of ledger balance. Trial balance is prepared to see that either the total debits are equal to total credits, right? Trial balance is a list of balances prepared in the ledger accounts. These are all correct. But unfortunately, we don't have been given any option regarding these. So the option which goes with why is trial balance prepared to assist in the preparation of financial statement, because after preparing trial balance, we used to prepare the financial statements, income statement and statement of financial position. And you know that we can't prepare financial statements without trial balance. Okay. Next, which group of account balances would appear in the credit column of a trial balance? Which comes on the credit column of a trial balance? Or you can say that which accounts are going to have a credit. Assets purchases drawings wrong है, assets debit होते हैं, discount receipt credit, capital credit, sales return debit होता है wrong, liability credit, expenses wrong, sales credit, capital credit, purchase return credit. So D is the answer, because sales is always credit, capital is always credit, and purchase return is always credit. Annual draft profit for the year was 17,000. So D is the answer. His actual correct profit was 17,400. Which error had made this had been made? So the draft incorrect profit is 17,000 and the corrected profit is 17,400. Which error has been corrected and then the correct profit has become 17,400. A purchase invoice for 2,600 had been recorded in the purchase journal as 2,200. Right? So you have you need to debit purchases by 2,600, but you have debited purchases by 2,200. So purchases is going to be debited by 400. If purchases is debited, profit will decrease by 400, but it is increasing. So A is not the answer. A sales invoice 2,600 has been recorded in the sales journal as 2,200. This is the right answer, because we have to give credit to sales of by 2,600, but we have credited sales by 2,200. It means sales are credited 400 less. So the entry sales को credit करेंगे, we will credit sales 400, and this will increase profit by 400. So B is the answer. Discount allowed 400 had been posted to the credit of discount allowed account. So this will have a double effect, because discount allowed is debited. We have credited discount allowed. Now we will debit discount allowed by 800 and suspense credit. So this will decrease profit by 800. That is wrong. Same is the case with D. It will have an effect of increasing profit by 800. So B is the answer. You have to give credit to sales by 2,600, but you have credited it by 2,200. So sales is basically undercasted by 400. So when you will credit sales by 400, your profit will increase by 400. So the correct profit was 17,400 because of B entry. Paul calculated his profit for the year to be 40,000. Paul then discovered the following errors. What was the correct profit? I will not take any risk for this. I will pass entries simply. Sir, but in the previous MCQs, you didn't pass the entry. Yes, because the time was short. So that was easy. I didn't go for it. But you can do that, because we are solving 30 MCQs in 40 minutes. You have 1 hour, 1 hour 15 minutes. So expenses included rates prepaid 1,000 for the year. So what is the entry? Prepaid rates debit, rectifying entry, and rates expense is going to be credited by 1,000. Then 8,600 owing for electricity had been omitted. So electricity expense debit and accrued electricity, electricity payable is going to be credit. Then sales return had not been recorded. So sales return debit, suspense credit. So I've passed all the rectifying entry actually just to make me understand the concept. Now I will go for the correct profit. Very easy. Incorrect profit is 40,000. In the first entry, is there any income and expense account? Yes. Rates are expense. Sir, credit हो रहा है. Profit क्या हो जाएगा? Sir, बढ़ जाएगा. Any expense income account credited, profit will increase. If debited, profit will decrease. Next, electricity expense. Debit हो रहा है, sir, profit will decrease. So it will subtract 600. Then sales return. Again, it is debited. So profit will decrease by 10,000. Now you can find the correct profit. Easily, correctly. It can never go wrong. But you will not follow the teacher instructions. You will follow on your own way, and that is the result. So 40,000 minus 10,000, 30,000. 30,000 plus 1,000, 31. 31 minus 600, 30,400. B is the answer. So B is going to be the answer for this question. Total of the assignment trial balance did not agree, and he opened a suspense account for the difference, obviously. He found that he had restored the interest with 70. He had recorded it correctly in the petty cash book, but had recorded it on the wrong side of the main cash book. This was the only error. What was the opening error entry in the suspense account? Again, the same thing. You will not find such an MCQs in any paper in the past because it is a new one. Yes, but it is easy. How, sir? Chale. When you restore cash, what is going to be the entry? When you restore cash, the entry is going to be petty cash will increase by 70 debit and bank is going to be credit. Because you are not passing the entry, because you are not want to write, because you want to calculate it directly through calculator, you will get always minimum marks. What I have done, I have recorded it correctly in the petty cash. So petty cash is debit, correct? But bank is not credit, it is debited. Instead of crediting bank, I have debit bank. Now, bank, I will correct it. Bank will come on the credit side by 70. Again, it will be recorded by 140 and suspense is going to be debited by 140. So it's simple. I will prepare the account. Yes, I will follow every single course of action which I know because I want to correct. I want to go for a correct answer. So suspense is going to be debited by 140 because of bank. So if the balance suspense account is not given, we can find by taking the difference of the two sides with the name difference in trial balance. So it is going to be 140 credit. देखता हूं मैं कैसे सवाल गलत होता है. हो ही नहीं सकता. C answer 140 on the credit side. Next. करें इसको डायरेक्ट 90% गलती करेंगे. James' bank statement at first May showed a bank overdraft of 1460. The moment you will be having, sometimes it happens that we have internet issue. No problem. Internet issue does come around us. So we were basically doing 0452 February March variant, February March 25 variant 12 for IGCSE 0452. Jamal's bank statement at first May showed a bank overdraft of 1460. Always remember that whenever there is going to be a question for BRS, bank reconciliation statement, always write the first point. Bank overdraft of 14. Bank statement at first May showed a bank overdraft of 1460. It means that we have a bank statement balance, which is a debit balance because it is an overdraft for 1460. So now it is very clear that if there is a bank statement debit balance, because it is an overdraft, bank statement is always having a normal balance of credit. But because it is an overdraft, it's a debit balance. So what will add NP? Yes, obviously. And plus NC, this is what we do. So simple. 1460 plus 385 and minus plus 385 minus 255, you will get the answer. So it's quite simple. So because I have written the first thing which is given the balance with the correct debit or credit name, I'll be able to understand the question easily. So 1460 plus 385 minus 255. The answer is 1590. So 1590 is the answer. It is bank statement debit. So cash book is always having a credit balance. So 1590 credit is the answer. So C is the answer. 1590 credit. Starting from bank balance and reaching on the cash book balance. That's what we are doing. What we have done actually. Which items are included in sale ledger control account? Goods returned by credit supplier? No. Debts that had been written off as irrecoverable? Yes. Goods sold for cash? No. Check received from credit customer returned by the bank as dishonored? Yes. Check dishonored debit pe aata hai. So 2 and 4 is the answer. D is the answer. After preparing his financial statement, Jonty discovered 2 errors had been made in his accounting records. Right? Error 1 and error 2. Ignoring depreciation. What was the effect of this error on Jonty's profit? Always remember, you have to pass entries. Yes. No other way. Vehicle repair cost of 1500 had been debited to vehicle account. I'm not saying this that if a student is more capable than me, and I believe that you are all more capable than me, then you can go directly. But I won't recommend this at all. So vehicle repair cost had been debited to vehicle. So I was supposed to debit vehicle repair, but instead of vehicle repair, I have debited vehicle. Now vehicle is going to be credit and vehicle repair is going to be debit. So what was the effect of this error on John T's profit? Now he's asking not of correcting the error, right? He is asking effect of error on the profit before correction. So vehicle repair should have been debited. हमने expense को debit करना था, profit को कम करना था. Expense debit हो रहा है, profit should be decreased, but we have not decreased profit. It means that profit is overstated by 1500. Next, legal fee of 2100 relating to purchase of new premises had been included in expenses. So you have debited. You need to debit premises actually, but instead of debited premises, because legal fee with the cost of purchase of premises should be part of premises. It is the initiation of business expenses. It's a capital expenditure. So legal fee will be credited and premises should have been debited. So because of vehicle repair 1500, profit will be, because हमने expense debit नहीं किया, जिसकी वजह से expense profit में से minus नहीं हुआ, profit overstate हो रहा है. So 1500 profit will be overstated, and with 2100 profit is going to be understated. So 600 understated. B is the answer, right? You can pass the rectifying entry and then you can reverse its effect, because we want the profit effect of profit before correction. I repeat it again. देखें, हमने vehicle repair expense record नहीं किया, उससे क्या हुआ? Expense 1500 is not recorded. Expense has gone down. Because of that, profit has been overstated. So because of 1500, profit is overstated, right? And legal fee 2100 relating to purchase of new premises had been included in expense. It is not an expense. We have recorded in expense. And because of that, expense has increased and profit has decreased. So because of 2100, profit is understated. So overall, profit is understated by 1500 से increase हो गया है, 2100 से decrease हो रहा है, 600 understated. B is the answer. You can go for the reverse effect of this entries also. हमने expense में से vehicle repair debit करना था, तो profit में से minus करना था ना, नहीं minus किया. क्या हुआ इसका मतलब है? Profit बढ़ गया. Legal fee credit किया, आपने expense decrease करना था. Legal fee credit means profit में add करना था. Add नहीं किया, मतलब profit क्या हो गया? कम हो गया. Understated. So this is how we will do this question. Next. Which item is a revenue receipt? Cash invested by the owner of the business is a revenue receipt. Yes. Proceed from sale of non-current asset at net book value. So B is the answer. Rent received income, short-term loan received from a finance company is also treated as an income because it's a short-term loan. So proceed from the sale of a non-current asset at book value is a capital receipt, because whenever a non-current asset is sold, we record it as a capital receipt, right? Sir, why short-term loan received from a finance company? Because it's a short-term loan. If it is going to be a long-term loan, we could have treated as a, oh, sorry. Which item is a revenue receipt? Sorry. So rent received from letting part of the premises, that is a revenue receipt. Is not asking the capital receipt. B is a capital receipt. A is also capital receipt. Short-term loan can also be treated as capital receipt. Rent received income hai. So all the items which comes in the income statement is basically our revenue receipt. So C is the answer. Rent received from letting part of the premises. Which item is a revenue receipt? That is C. Samuel started his business on 1st January and bought 2 delivery vehicles for 12,000 each. He depreciate all vehicles at the rate of 10% per annum calculated monthly using straight line method. On 1st April, he sold one of the van and placed it with a larger one costing 24,000. What was the balance on the provision for depreciation of delivery vehicle account on 31st December 2024? So you can easily assess that it is going to be a difficult question. So if you don't know about the depreciation chapter properly, nobody can solve this question in full swing. It will become very difficult, right? So let's prepare the provision for depreciation account, because without preparing the provision for depreciation account, even nobody can solve this question to its best possible manner. So let me do that. We are supposed to prepare the account for 2024. So because we have purchased these assets on 1st January, so it means that two delivery vehicles for 12,000 each. So on this 24,000, the depreciation has already been charged. So brought down will be there 12,000. That is going to be 2,400. How come, sir? 12,000 into 10%, 1,200. Again, 12,000 into 10%, 1,200. So depreciation of 2,400 has already been there. Now, calculated monthly using straight line method. Now on 1st April, he sold one of the van and replaced it with a larger one costing 24,000. So one of the van has been sold, but we have used that van till 1st April, January, February, March. So it means that we have to calculate depreciation on one van more for one more for 10% into 3 over 12. So the answer is going to be 12,000 into 12% is going to be 1,200 into 3 over 12 is 300. So the total depreciation on the asset sold, which will be debited with the name disposal, that is going to be 1,500. How come, sir? Because the first asset, one asset which is sold, is depreciated in 2023 for 1,200, and again in 2024 for 3 months, 300. 12 plus 3, 1,500. Now I have to write depreciation for the profit and loss account figure, the charge for the year. I will go with the steps. That first, calculate depreciation on the newly purchased asset. There is new asset we have purchased for 24,000. I will calculate depreciation on 24,000 at the rate of 10% for 9 months. That is 9 over 12. So let me calculate it. That is the calculated depreciation for 9 months. 24,000 into 10% into 9 divided by 12. This comes 1,800. Okay. Now calculate depreciation on the asset sold. We will calculate because it's monthly basis. We have calculated that 300 and then calculate depreciation on the existing assets. One asset is still with us of 12,000, 10%, that is 1,200. So the total depreciation 18,000, 1,800 plus 12,000, 1,200, sorry, 3,000 and 3,300 is the depreciation which is charged for the year. Now I will go for the total of the credit side. That is going to be 2,400 plus 3,300. 5,700 minus 1,500. The answer is 4,200. So B is the answer. So the carried down of provision for depreciation account is going to be 4,200. So how can you calculate this without calculation? No one can do that. So how can you predict about yourself that you will do a calculation after seeing the question? Either we need calculation or not. You can't do that. You have to do the calculation. So brought down 2,400, disposal depreciation 1,200, in the first year 300, 1,500, वो debit हो जाएगी, and the charge for the year, the steps we have done. First, calculate depreciation on the newly purchased asset, then asset sold, which is same obviously 300, and the existing assets 1,200 because it's a straight line method. So 4,200 is the carried down. So B is the answer of the provision for depreciation of delivery vehicle account as carried down. Obviously, this MCQs will take at least 3-4 minutes. Yeah. So no matter. Some MCQs will take 1 second and some MCQs will take 3-4 minutes. So what? A computer uses the revaluation method of depreciation for the hand tools used in the business. All hand tools in use at the end of the financial year, including those bought during the year, are revalued. New hand tools were purchased during the year, but no hand tools were disposed of. What value of hand tools shown on the calculation of the depreciation for the year? आसान है. Value at the start less cost of new, less नहीं होगा, add होगा. Value at the start plus value at the end, no. Value at the start plus new hand tools purchased less value at the end. Opening asset plus purchase minus closing asset. इसमें से माइनस डिस्पोजल भी होता है, लेकिन उसने कहा डिस्पोज कोई हो ही नहीं रहा, तो डी इज द आंसर. 5 seconds में हमने इसको कर लिया 18 को. सो डी इज गोइंग टू बी द आंसर. वैल्यू एट द स्टार्ट प्लस न्यू हैंड टूल्स माइनस क्लोजिंग. At the end of year 1, a trader created provision for doubtful debts of 5% of trade receivable. At the end of year 2, she decided to increase the provision to 6%. The trader provided the following information. Trade receivable at the end of year 1, 4,800. Again, same thing I will do, which you don't want to do. I will prepare the account. भाई मैं तो नलायक हूँ, मुझे तो नहीं आता. मुझे तो बनाए बगैर मुझसे तो नहीं होता यार. आप लोगों से होता होगा यार, आप लोग लाइक हो. ठीक है, मेरे बस की बात नहीं है. तो 4,800 at the end of year 1, the provision was 5%. So 4,800 into 5%, that will be 240. Now I will go with the carried down 7,500, and the provision is going to be 6% into 6 divided by 100. That is going to be 450. Now I can do that provision. I have to increase the provision. Here I will write profit and loss account. 450 minus 240. That is 210. So provision will increase by 210. And what was the amount of the provision for doubtful debt that should be included in the income statement for year 2? Profit and loss account 210. Increase in provision by 210. So in the income statement, 210 debit. B answer. Again, yes. Again, you are thinking wrong. If you find it problem, why don't you go for the entry? Why? It is clearly stated that you need to write the amount which comes in the income statement regarding provision. What is the entry? Profit and loss account debit, because we are increasing the provision. Provision for doubtful debt credit 210. So it is clearly stated that profit and loss account income statement is debited by 210. So B is the answer. Okay, I hope you got it. Next, the end of year inventories held by sports are shown below. If you ask me about the paper, that what kind of paper is going to come, paper will be of the same type. Paper will not be difficult than this. It will be of the same type. Rather little easier than this, or rather almost the same. End of year inventories held by sports shop are shown in the table. Football kits cost, NRV, tracksuit, football. What inventory shown in the statement of financial position? Inventory is valued at cost or NRV, whichever is less. So 250, 230, I will go with 230. 210, 240, I will go with 210. Cost is less. And then 160, I will go with 160, because 160 is going to be on the lesser side. I'll go for the total of this. 230 plus 210 is going to be 440, and 440 plus 160, 600 is the answer. So A is the answer. So A is going to be the answer for this question. What is the disadvantage of running business as a sole trader? The owner does not have to pay interest on drawing. The owner is entitled to all profit. The owner must have the decision making and the profit. The owner's personal possessions are at risk if the business should fail. So D is the answer, because he is asking us about the disadvantage. All other things are basically advantages. The owner personal possessions are at risk if the business should fail. If the business will not successful, our private investment, our own possession will be at risk. What is shown in the capital and liability section of the statement of financial position of a business? Resources are being used by the business, the working capital of the business, total amount owed by the business and total amount owed to the business, where the resources of business have come from. So C is the answer. In the statement of financial position, beta, we used to write, no. What is shown in the capital and liability section? Okay, sorry. So that is going to be the total amount owed by the business, total amount owed to the business. No, owed by the business. So where the resources of the business have come from? D is the answer. Because in the balance sheet, capital and liability section means that from where the resources of the business are called assets. From where the resources will come? Accounting question, remember, it comes from two sides. Either from the owner's own capital, on money, which is capital, or we have to take loan from third party, that is liability. So D is the answer, where the resources of the business have come from. Quite difficult point. So D is the answer. Anne and Ben are in partnership sharing profit and losses equally. They provide the following information for the year ended 30th April. Profit for the year, interest on capital drawing in the year. What was the Ben share of the residual profit? Equal है. So profit for the year is given 20,000, less interest on capital 9,000 total. And interest on drawing is not there, right? So the answer is 11,000. So 5,500. A is the answer. Appropriation account, A is the answer, because equal share. So A is going to be the answer. So A, 5,500 is the answer. Frankie is a partner. He has both a capital and a current account. Which statement is correct? Any loan he makes to the partnership are added to his capital account balance? No. He can have a debit balance on his current account, but not on his capital account. Yes. Interest on drawing would increase a credit balance on his current account? No. Interest on drawing decrease karta hai beta, it will come on the debit side. The balance on his capital account falls when his drawing exceed his share of profit. So balance on his capital account falls when his drawings exceed his share of profit. No, because in partnership, capital remain normally fixed because he has both a capital and current account. Although it is right, but because he has both a capital and current account, it will not come. So answer is B. Because we can have a debit balance in his current account because that is a loss. That is the previous loss comes from the previous year, but not on his capital account. Capital is always credit. It can never have a debit balance. What is included in the equity of a limited company debenture non-current liability will not come general reserve and ordinary share capital. Goodwill is an intangible non-current asset. So the answer is 2 and 4. C is the answer. 2 and 4 is the answer, right? So we have done with 25 MCQs. Thank you very much. If you have any problem, you can WhatsApp me 0333471287. After some time, 9 minutes, or I will start the class again for the next 10 MCQs. So please join again. Thank you very much.